Okay, when solving these problems, we have to follow the steps that were given. These steps were also provided to you in your notebooks at the beginning of the year. Find the least common denominator, add the whole numbers and numerators. We should technically do the numerators first, then simplify. So, look at my fractions, 3/7 and 2/3. Sure. Okay, I need y'all to pay attention. Three sevenths and 2/3. What is my common denominator? I should be able to tell it by looking at 7 and 3. Nancy? 21. And then?
And then you do, on the top one, you do 3 times 3, which is because what you do at the bottom is
So I apply the do-do rule. 7 times 3 is 21. So I have to do the same thing to the 3. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. 3 times 3 is 9. I also must apply the do-do rule down here. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. What did I multiply this 3 by to get 21?
7.
So times 7 and times 7. What? Good. Add the numerators and then the whole numbers. What do I get when I add those numbers? 23 over 21. And then it becomes 1 whole, and how many are left over?
2.
2 out of 21. Then don't forget your whole numbers. Plus 5, plus 4. What do I get all together? 10 and 2 21st. Yeah, it's not 2 and 2 or 10 and 2 21s. That doesn't make sense. You can't have a once. Subtracting fractions. Okay, I have to do something a little more beyond these 3 steps. Since I'm subtracting, what do I know about this number over here?
It's mixed.
Well, they're both mixed. What if I said I want to subtract 10 minus 4? What's the rules between 10 and 4?
You got an X off.
Or no, let's talk about the comparison. 10 is bigger than 4. So 2/5 has to be bigger than 4/7. So let's compare and see if that's true. We're about to find out. How do we compare fractions? Say what? What'd you say? The who?
Bow tie method.
Bow tie or what?
Oh, I know.
Butterfly.
Yeah, butterfly.
I need to see who's bigger. Why did I write that X?
Because you gotta multiply 5 by 4, and then 7 times 2.
Good. What's 5 times 4?
20.
20.
14.
And 14. Who is bigger?
20.
So 4/7 is greater. So it is not true that 2/5 is greater. So now I have to do what in order to subtract? Not yet. No. What do I do? There's not enough 0 here to subtract this 4. What do I do here? This was probably a bad example. Let's try this. 11 minus 7. Disregard. What do I have to do to this 1?
Put it 11.
Oh, let's make this 21 because it's still a bad example. I have to do what? Borrow.
From a neighbor.
So I need to borrow from this 2, make it a 1, and make this 11. So I need to borrow from whom here? The whole number. So I have 6 and 2/5. But I need to borrow. My 6 becomes a what? 5. How much did I borrow? 1 whole. How do I write 1 whole in 2/5 form? 5 over 5. So 2/5. Pay attention. Plus 5/5. Do not lose focus. This is now 5 and 7/5 minus 3 and 4/7. Now I can take my fractions. Here's my new problem. And 7/5 minus 4/7. And I can do, ooh, I gotta squeeze it in. A common denominator. What do 7 and 5 have in common as far as multiples go? Not 30. 35. How do I get from 5 to 35? Times 7. So what do I do here? Do rule. What's 7 times 7?
49.
How do I get from 7 to 35? And then up here? Good. Do the rule again. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. And 5 times 4 is 20. Subtract 49 minus 20. 29 35. Then subtract 5 minus 3 because I have to do my whole numbers. 2. There's my answer. 35ths. 2 and 29 35ths. Okay. Now, let's multiply and divide. Down here with multiplying, it says convert whole numbers to mixed numbers or convert any whole numbers or mixed numbers to improper fractions. Yes. Multiply the numerators and denominators. Simplify if needed. So I have some number I can't see. 3 and 6/7 times 2 and 3/4. Why did I change my multiplication sign?
So you don't get confused.
No, not quite. What does this serve as now, since we're in 7th grade? Good. It's a variable. We can write multiplication several different ways. I don't want to see it written as an X because then I'm going to think you're solving for a 2-step or 1-step equation. Okay, you're not focused. You're still not focused. Let's talk about that after this stuff has been gotten done. 3 and 6/7. How do I convert that to an improper fraction? Texas. Around the world, get mad, whatever. 7 times 3 plus 6.
27.
Over whom?
Over 6. No, over 7. Over 7. Over 7.
Keep the denominator.
8.
4 times 2 is 8 plus 3 is 11 over 4.
Oh my god. And then,
No. You only butterfly when there's no symbol in between them or an equal sign.
28 is the bottom one.
28 goes at the bottom. What was the trick that I showed y'all with multiplying by 11? 2-digit numbers by 11.
You just add, a 1. A 7. I remember it, but I don't. You just add a 0. I remember it. It's 0.
Wait.
I don't know how to say it. You add the number twice.
The number that's in front is going to be the same number.
It's 297.
What's 11 times 11?
297.
1 and 1. What number goes here?
2.
How do you get 2?
Because 1 plus 1 is 2.
Good. So what's 11 times 12? Take the 1 and the 2. What goes here?
3.
So then what goes here?
3.
What?
9.
9. Why 9?
I said you like this.
Because 2 plus 7 equals 9. Okay?
He did say 9. I know he did say that. You did.
He worked it out.
I worked it
He
out.
worked it out, which is fine. You can still get the same answer, but I'm showing you a shortcut because that's what I do. I want you to get it quicker. Work smarter, not harder.
Thank you. But it's always to show paper messy. It's good to make your paper messy and math.
And it's also good to remember Miss Starling's tips and tricks.
Exactly.
Because I know you would put them to work when you take that test in a couple Mondays.
Exactly.
28 goes into 29 how many times?
Once. And then 1 is remaining.
Okay, pause. No, and no. Y'all need to stay focused and slow down and listen to what I am saying. Stop beating on the table, ladies and gentlemen. I am not talking to kindergartners. Y'all are in 7th grade. Stay focused. You, because you're talking. Can I write a number on top of this 2?
Yeah, you can put an X.
Is that a number?
0. You have to put a 0.
I have to keep in mind that if I'm dividing, this is like saying 28 will go into 2, and that is not true. Put an X here. 1 times 28 is 28. 1, 7. Does 28 go into 17?
No.
0 times 28.
0.
Let's leave it in mixed number form. What's my answer? 10 and... Good. 2 answers. Mixed number, improper fraction. There's also a decimal, but we don't need that right now. Lastly, 4 1/3 divided by 1 2/3. I cannot switch the second fraction until I have followed the steps prior to it. Convert. I need to do the same thing I did here. So what goes here? Excuse me. People who are talking can go next door. TX.
Texas.
What do I get over here on the left-hand side?
12, 13. 13 over 3. But you didn't say the whole thing, so what do you know? Very much.
Now over here.
5 over 3.
Now what's the next step?
He changed flip. KC up.
Keep, change, flip. Okay, don't lose your focus. It's not a race. It's about who says it correctly, not the fastest. 13 over 3, and then I change my division to multiplication. And then I flip this. That's the multiplying by the reciprocal. I am multiplying by the reciprocal, meaning I am flipping 5/3 and making it 3/5. Trick question. What's going to happen here? No. Trick question means you need to think before you spit out an answer.
Butterfly?
It's kind of got to do with the butterfly, but it's not exactly the butterfly that I'm going to apply, because when I multiply, I go top by top and bottom by bottom.
Oh, parallel. No.
Don't guess. Nope.
I just don't know.
Crossing out the trees. Because they're the same. There's one on the top and one on the bottom. They're gone. Now what?
13.
13 over 5. No, I don't do cross multiplication. These are being crossed out.
You didn't answer the question.